Turning around and looking at the floor. What's happening? My goodness.
It's the floor cam.
Floor cam. We're
Donate
alive.
200 bits to see the floor cam.
It's on the stick after dark. It's Sticksmas. Sticksmas 2020.
Happy Sticksmas.
It's the final installment of Sticksmas 2020, and I'm wearing my I wore my Resident Evil 2 shirt today.
Oh.
To play Resident Evil 2.
I'm wearing a shirt with flamingos on it. Are those? They only have one leg. Flamingos, mutant. That's very anime Leon Kennedy on your shirt.
Yes, I like that. I saw this shirt go up on the Yeti, and I was like, I have to have the Leon typing while all the bad guys just sit and wait for him. Sure.
Well, not all of them. We'll get to that part.
Oh no, he's in the back. He actually stays out of safe rooms. I don't know how far you've gotten, but
we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Well, so I gave Mike Resident Evil because you're a big fan of the original Resident Evil 2, and when I was thinking about things to get you, I realized that I was pretty sure you had not played the remake of Resident Evil 2, despite your love of the original Resident Evil 2, and then I checked and you hadn't, and so it was... I don't remember if it was on sale or if it was just down to $20 for the
I think
digital special edition.
That's on sale, I think. I don't think the regular price is that.
Yeah, it was $20 for the special edition.
With the cool Claire costume that you're rocking right now, which I am also using at this point.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool ass motorcycle costume.
Yeah, and 3 extra pistols that you'll never use. And
I saw that at the very beginning. I opened my chest and I saw Wesker's pistol, and I was like, it seems unsporting of me to take this 15-shot pistol when the game's giving me a 5-shot. So I didn't use it.
I think that one of them is has a higher crit chance. One of them does more base damage, and one of them reloads faster, has a higher rate. I think Jill's shoots faster, Chris's has a higher crit rate, and Wesker's does more base damage, I believe, but I don't remember, and I never really use them because also you can't improve them.
Oh, okay.
The stuff you get to make the longer magazines and the faster reloads and for Leon the laser sight and all that stuff like that. Well, you haven't played as Leon yet, but those parts don't work on the special handguns, which is why it's maybe you would use them at the very beginning before you've gotten any of that stuff, but generally.
All right, well, the cart's getting ahead of the horse here. So why don't you tell me why Resident Evil 2 bracket 2019 bracket?
So it was my game of the year last year, and I also, as we've discussed at length, love the first one. The longest ever, and I would say maybe most comprehensive episode of Same Name Different Game I've ever done was on Resident Evil 2. That was last year's Halloween special. I love me some Resident Evil 2.
You don't say. I didn't know that about you, Jeff.
Yeah, and so I think mostly just because I was trying to think of what to give you. Not the last time I gave you something, because we've been doing this so long that we've all given to each other multiple times. But the first year, I think it was the very first year we did this, I gave you a game that you hated, and I really still feel like I need to make up for that every time, even though you're super wrong. Right? Even though you're extremely wrong about Toe Jam and Earl, I feel like I need to do better. And yeah, just because, again, I know you love the original, and I felt like you should check out the new version, and the best way to do that would be to just give it to you for Sticksmas.
Joe's gonna give it to you. Also, Kurt just showed up. Hi, Kurt.
Yes, I heard that.
Howdy.
How you doing, bud?
Have you played this, right, Kurt?
Okay, I did play this.
Okay.
I, on the other hand, hadn't played the original, so this is my only experience with this game.
I will quickly say that it's interesting because they are very similar and also very different games.
Yes.
It is absolutely the same game that has been remade, but it feels extremely different to play because it's such a product of a modern era.
Yeah, well, there are a few story beats that change, which, again, if you want to know all the details of that, you should go watch my video. It's an hour long and goes into heavy detail about all the different ports of the first game and the differences that game has, all the versions of that game have from this game. So, but yeah.
All right. Well, so number one, you are correct. First off, I was a huge fan of Resident Evil 2, and in fact, I think when we did the PlayStation draft, I took that one early because I knew that it was going to be a quick to go, and also because I like it a lot. It was definitely one of my favorite PlayStation games. You probably don't know this. You probably do know this about me, but I never owned a PlayStation. I went from kind of no consoles for a few years to I bought a used Saturn and N64, and then I eventually got a PlayStation 2, and that let me backfill in some of these games. But I played Resident Evil 2 on the computer, and actually.
Right.
I have it on a shelf behind me. I might go and look at the details at some point, but it's a really nice port of that game, considering that it was like a year or two after the PlayStation port came out, and it runs at high resolution and pretty smooth. Also, famously, I like to tell this story, but I played that game using like a 12-foot long composite video cable running out of my video card and a 12-foot long gamepad extender so that I could play using my Gravis gamepad on my 27-inch CRT in the next room on my couch. So like I gave myself the full cinematic experience playing this PC game. Don't ask me why I didn't just move the damn computer, but figured for the price of 2 cables I can have it all, and I did. And so yeah, I love this game. I'm not exactly sure what I would say about it aside from the fact that like the old one is tense but also campy. So like I definitely found it creepy when I was being chased by zombos in the dark hallways, and then smash something breaks through the window, and then smash Mr. X is there and he breaks through the wall. But also there's enough like
one
weirdness.
One of the all-time great jump scares in video game history is Mr. X breaking through that wall.
You mean the second time in a row, or like what?
Right, when you run, you leave the room and you're running through the hallway that goes around the room that he's now in, and he smashes out a second wall because 100%. That breaks every rule you've come to expect from a Resident Evil game.
Yeah, that moment was amazing, and I loved it. And we will get to my feelings on new Mr. X in a bit. So anyway,
he actually can. So there is a little known fact. He can do that in this version, but it's rare to see it. But it does happen.
Oh, he can break that wall.
He can break that wall in this version, but it's. I've only seen him do it. I've beat this game probably a dozen times, and I think I've seen him do it twice.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need to do it because anyway. So this game, I've been wanting to play this game for a while. I just kind of didn't get around to it. And honestly, a chunk of that is just my life situation is that I can only play like a horror game, after the kid is asleep, and like, do I want to have the sound up high enough for him to hear the screaming and like chewy flesh sounds? Or he's been cooperative on that front. Actually, he started closing his door to his bedroom when he goes to bed, so I don't feel so bad about it. But I was really glad when I started playing this game that he was not hanging around and just wandering around the house, especially when you get that police officer who comes through the security door, but you only get half of him.
The top half. Just the top half.
Yeah, that part is nasty.
Well, also when you find the cop in what was originally the liquor hallway, and he's like a Pez dispenser.
Yeah, that part's weird, and also I don't think the human body looks like that, but I don't. Maybe that was the effect of the T virus or whatever that was messing him up.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I played this game, but played about 5 hours. I'm actually only a little bit ahead of where you are now. I did the first run through the police station. I got the medallions. I went through the tunnel. I saw this scene here, and I fought William Birkin for the first time. And things started to kind of go downhill for me as I got to the William Birkin fight, because in the first chunk of the game, I was finding it like, oh, this isn't too bad. Like, the zombies pose a threat, which I appreciate. You've got to either find a good spot to get around them or else use up quite a number of bullets, putting them down, unless you're not going to be back in that area again. So, like, the zombies are definitely, an issue. Look at you just walking right by that liquor.
You got to. I'm playing on hardcore right now. This is what I'm streaming right now is hardcore, which means that those liquors will kill me very quickly if I'm not careful.
So playing through the first chunk, I was doing pretty well. I was starting to stockpile ammo and gunpowder and healing items and things like that. And then I got to the William Birkin fight, and I just couldn't aim for shit. Like, I had my grenade launcher with me, and I must have wasted like 4 rounds just completely missing him.
So, go ahead, finish talking about your experience with that.
Well, I mean, that's just it. I just felt like a chump, right? Like I burned through a bunch of valuable ammo on that fight. And then I came through this section here where, there's all the liquors, but I was not just walking by them, I was killing them. To be fair, it's easier to walk by them if you know what you do or do not need in that area. Like, every time I see one, I'm like, fuck, I gotta kill this guy because I don't know, am I gonna be coming through this hallway 4 times, or do I need to open 6 doors in this area or what? So I've been generally just murking them every time I see them. But yeah, that was kind of the start of my downfall of kind of burning through a bunch of my items. And then
if you're
I got
playing on the default difficulty, it's less of a thing, right?
I'm sure it is, but then I got to Mr. X, and of course, Mr. X in this game, he ain't no canned cutscene bad guy, right? He doesn't just show up 3 times to scare you, and you run by him, or you shoot him a couple times and then run by him. This guy is a fucking machine, and he is just going to follow you nonstop forever. And I find that the game has suddenly gotten really hard. Like the first half of the game was like, okay, this is fine. Like, I'm doing okay. And, and then this part around the kennels, there's a lot of liquors, and okay, I'm a little lower on ammo. But now I feel like I'm kind of fucked, and I'm not entirely sure what to do about it. Because in my current save right now, I've got like 1 spare first aid spray and a little bit of ammo, and I have the means to go pick up the machine gun. But I can't make any progress because nowhere is safe, right? I want to say I've done 2 loops. The last time I played, I did 2 loops of about 20 minutes each, where I was just nonstop moseying around the west side of the police station trying to, advance, solve the next puzzle, pick up some weapons and things while I'm at it. And eventually, because there's nowhere to kind of stop and save, I guess I didn't know that there are some safe rooms that are actually safe.
He generally will not follow you into a safe room.
Okay, well, I didn't really realize that at the time, but because it feels like he's always everywhere close by. And so I would just do these big long stretches where I didn't feel like I was safe to save because he was so close to me all the time. And eventually I'd trip up and make one too many mistakes and get killed, and then have to kind of start over again. So I've been kind of stopped for about the last 45 minutes, and I can't say that I'm like super enjoying that part of the experience.
Safe rooms are generally safe. Now sometimes he'll puppy guard you, as we used to say when we played tag as kids. Like
puppy guard?
Yeah, he'll just stand outside the door until you come out. That was what we called it as kids when if you were playing tag and someone was on ghoul, as it were, and so if the person who was it just stood there and waited for you to come off.
Right.
You would say, "Stop puppy guarding." And yeah, he'll do that a little bit, but usually if you chill for a minute, you'll hear him walk away. You'll hear his footsteps, and he walks away from you, and then you can kind of
yeah. Because like the issue that I'm having now is I have to traverse the library and I have to move all these shelves, and I can never get more than like 1 or 2 of them done before he shows up. I'm not sure if he's supposed to know where you are, but it really feels like he does.
So gunshots will bring him coming. If you just running doesn't alert him. The only sound he follows is weapon fire. So if you're running or whatever, then
grenading,
yes, he will. Okay, that's for a different.
Does the game give you that information somewhere?
No, you have to figure it out on your own, or have someone tell you, as I just did. Mm-hmm. But yes, gunshots, weapon fire will bring him running.
Right.
And this is a thing that people have tested where you can't hear his footsteps, he's not around, and then you fire a bullet, and it's like within 2 minutes he'll be there.
Because he's so fast.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he's fast.
He is very fast.
Yeah.
Gotta go fast.
He's doing the job that he's meant to do, right? He has turned this game from like a kind of tense, you spook him up like, oh, I'm in a dark room and there's a zombie, to now it's just like, okay, nowhere is safe, I can never stop. Like, it's like I have to speed run this game until I finally figure out how to get through that section and just be rid of him.
Yeah. So I mean, that's up to you if you want. I can give you some hot tips on how to get through that section. The one thing I will say is that, and I think we were texting about
also
this,
the game gives you enough ammo where you can just it's okay to just knock them down sometimes.
Sometimes,
so you don't have to deal with them otherwise.
Sometimes, but it's
the game will,
a waste of
especially
bullets.
If you're playing on normal, like the game will just give you more ammunition. If you start burning it down on him, and sometimes he'll even drop ammunition, so it's fine to just shoot him sometimes.
I have never seen him drop anything in this version. He might.
I thought that was the thing in the original Resident Evil 2 is that he would drop like...
in the original one he will,
grenades
for sure.
and stuff. Yeah.
I've never.
I think he'll drop shotgun shells and stuff.
But I also
Maybe not.
stopped shooting him after a while because I was like, this is just a waste of ammo to shoot him, so I'm just not gonna do it.
Also, I don't have a shotgun because I'm Claire.
And
You have,
the main thing with dealing with him is just to spend time looking at your map before you make a move. you know?
Yeah.
Know where
That's
you
what
wanna
I, that's
go.
what
Like
I'm
have
doing.
a plan and then execute.
Have a plan. Yeah.
Yeah, my plans fall apart because at some point he comes stomping around the corner and I can no longer make.
And you're like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
Anyway, I'm just saying my experience has not been super great since he showed up in the picture because I had 2 long loops where I was trying to get stuff done that both ended up with death and no progress, and it's just like, oh, cool. So I don't know. I mean, I do think I will go back to it, but let's just say that when I finished playing my last session, I cooled significantly because I was enjoying it for the first section. I was having a pretty good time. Going
Also,
through that.
his sections only make up a pretty small portion of the game.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
when you're playing as Claire. Like again, there's a story beat where he is gone and you know he's not coming back to bother you again. Leon doesn't have that because for Leon he sticks around longer if you're playing.
Oh
as
man,
him.
glad I picked Claire at least.
So
Anyway, I don't want to dump on this too much because I do think it's a really cool game. I love how the controls feel really solid, but nonetheless the zombies are still a danger to you because you're not like Rambo. You know, like they take a lot of hits to put down. Their movement is unpredictable. You know, especially at the start, you only have 5 shots in your pistol before you have to reload. So that's often not enough to stagger them, even if you get a few headshots in. So yeah, you got to think carefully. And lickers are creepy and stuff. And the game looks really good, although I don't think I'm ever going to be in love with Claire's new face model. I mean, I guess I'm too used to porcelain doll PlayStation 1 cutscene Claire.
yeah.
Or Code Veronica Claire, which is the same thing, but in real time.
Right. Right.
I did want to say that the first thing this game did was impress the hell out of me with its lighting. Because I got myself a fancy television last year, but I don't have any modern consoles. And this is the first game that I've ever played that actually put the HDR on my TV to work. And like within seconds, I was very, very impressed by how good the lighting looked in this game. Like that first cutscene where the trucker hits the zombie and thinks it's a person, he gets out, and there's a shot where the camera is like looking at his truck. I thought for a second there was a truck parked in my living room because the headlights were so bright.
Yeah. So part of the first Birkin fight thing that I was going to mention is the knife in this game is slightly broken in that it does damage per frame. So I don't know how, if you're playing at 120 frames per second, the first Birkin, like in any case, using the knife on Birkin number 1 is generally the way to go. But
Really?
yes.
I mean, that's not telegraphed in any way, is it?
No, absolutely not. I didn't start doing that until I got kind of hip to that, and then realized once you have the infinite knife, because the infinite knife is the only bonus weapon you can use to get an S+ ranking on hardcore, and it's very much a thing that you want to do to preserve your ammo for the first Birkin fight when you're trying to get an S+ on hardcore, because you skip a bunch of normal stuff because you have to beat the game in less than 2 hours, and you can only save 3 times, and you just want to conserve as much of your stuff as you can. So the fact that it does damage per frame it just does so much damage to him. It's a flash. I actually just did that fight before this, and I wanted to make sure I cleared it before we started talking because I wasn't sure that I would be able to do it as efficiently as I did. But it only took me 2 tries. I died once. But flash grenades and knives is the best way to fight Birkin 1. And if your rig can run the game at 120 frames per second, you're doing even more damage with the knife.
Well, it sure can't. I don't have the kind of rig that can. I can bump the detail settings down to minimum, I guess, and try to run it at 100.
Play it in potato mode at 120 frames per second. Yeah.
But let me tell you, you fire an incendiary grenade in the dark room in this game, and it looks good as hell.
Oh yeah.
Everything lights up orange. It's just beautiful.
Does this game support ray tracing? Have you played it with ray tracing on at all? Or
No,
does it not?
it doesn't support ray tracing.
No, but HDR, believe it. This is the first time I played a game that was really designed for it. Because technically speaking, I've played Euro Truck Simulator too, and that apparently has HDR support, but it doesn't do much of anything that I can tell. But yeah, this game looks good. We got a couple comments here. Mark von Borstel says RE2 remake. That was your favorite game of the year it was released. Join the club apparently. And Randez626 says that's your favorite outfit. That's because it's a great outfit, and he can Rambo this game when he plays. So.
I could Rambo. I have all the stuff, so I could just like go to the item box and pull out the minigun, and I could Rambo. You know. Okay, I don't have the stuff to do that.
Anyway, where I'm at right now is I would like to get past the Mr. X section because I think I would enjoy the rest of the game. I'm still a little frustrated with that part right now, and I don't want to have to restart. Like that was the big thing with Code Veronica was the Resident Evil game where I got halfway through and I had to restart because I just didn't have enough health and ammo left. I don't think I could beat the boss fight in the back of the cargo plane or something like that. And that's a bad feeling.
Everybody got stuck on that fight.
Mm-hmm. But that's a bad feeling when you got to go back and replay the game. So like I know I'm only on normal, and theoretically it's probably doable. But yeah, I think what you just told me about gunfire being kind of the key that brings the tyrant brings Mr. X to your position. I think that will help. Like I'll see what I can do to avoid, catching his notice.
Play with headphones also is a good way to avoid, because then you can positionally locate him a lot easier by the sound of his footsteps.
I don't have much trouble telling left from right with my current setup. I can always tell where he is, but of course, it's the Doom thing, right? The thing with Doom is that you can hear every enemy from halfway across the map, so. I know he's to the left, but he could be on any floor, and he could be almost anywhere in a pretty big police station. I don't know. If you would just let me move those fucking library shelves in peace, man. Also, I found one of the gears, but I think I need a second gear, and I don't know where that is yet. So that's troubling. Anyway. So it is a cool game, and I have enjoyed most of my time with it. And I do appreciate that you gave it to me.
Yeah. I would say the recommendations I would make is one about kind of what I'm going to do here. What you may have seen me doing is the easiest way to make sure zombies aren't going to bother you as much is just to shoot them in the legs. Once you shoot one of their legs off, they can't stand up anymore, and that
damage persists.
Yes, they will just be flopping around on the floor. I just totally wasted a flashbang. They will just be flopping around on the floor forever now. Like, this zombie will never stand up again.
That sounds so sad when you put it that way.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes, man.
Also, it's fine. Just shoot stuff. Don't worry about it.
Well, I do have to worry about it at this point because I don't have endless ammo anymore. I burned through a lot of my reserves, so I mean I'm fine. Like I've got full health. I've got at least one health refill. My ammo situation is a little low, so I need to basically avoid Mr. X as much as possible while making progress. Also, I got to go back to the storage room, and there's a fucking liquor in that hallway again, and what a pain. Yeah. I killed all the liquors down there. There shouldn't be any more.
Their liquors stay dead. Generally,
no, they must have spawned some new ones at some point.
Yeah,
that sounds familiar.
Usually, it's triggered by some story thing.
Yeah.
In this case, I'm assuming it's the story scene of Mr. X pushing the helicopter out of the way.
I think so.
Are there other ways to get him to appear in your campaign, or does he always show up at that one?
It's that spot. That's right.
Do you don't even have to do that, do you?
Where I'm at right now, there's no way for me to get back. Like, this door is locked from the other side.
You can't go back through the tunnel?
No, because it closes behind you.
Oh, okay. So that's why.
You can eventually open it. Like, there's an item
rough.
you get that can reopen that for you, but until you have that item, there is no way to go back up the elevator and go back through the tunnel. Plus, the walkway claps beneath you, and there's a bunch of shit in the way of the catwalk. When you're with Sherry, you can't traverse that.
Okay, I didn't think of that. So with liquors, as long as you walk and don't shoot, they won't notice you, or?
Yeah, there's a file you find upstairs on the third floor of the police station that talks about how they're totally blind. And
I just didn't know that you could walk right next to them without being spotted.
as long as you don't touch them, they will not see you. Oh, fuck off.
I'll
I
have to
think
see
I
if-
tried that the one time I tried that. Like, he moved or something, and I got touched, and then that was all over.
That can happen, yeah.
And I was
Well,
like,
that-
fuck.
There's 2 of them in the kennel area, I think. So that seems like a really good place to try and use that technique. Because that room you could just walk
There's
through.
2 of them there, and then there's 2 that spawn in the attic area.
In the interrogation room, you mean? Or no, it's...
You go up on the, whatever, 3rd floor,
And
and
then there's
There are
bears up there.
Yeah.
yeah, there's bears, and then you got to sneak past the bears, and then there's like a dude that's in a cell or something. I'm trying to remember what. There's like a cutscene that you trigger.
Well, you don't.
And once
That's
you-
only with Leon that you see Ben in the cell.
Okay.
That's
All
only,
right.
it's a Leon thing.
Okay.
Are you playing on PlayStation, Joe?
I am playing on PS4, yes.
I say I don't think I've seen a loading screen tip ever.
Oh, well. They give you some loading screen tips. Give you some hot tips.
Creepy.
Yeah, so if I get desperate, what I could potentially do is go back to redo the Birkin fight the first time and replay that kennel area. I don't really want to, so I'm going to see if I can salvage this run by just playing good.
Get
I don't
good
know.
scrub.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling
It's
that
easy to say.
if I lose 1 or 2 more rounds to Mr. X, I don't know if I'll have the wherewithal to continue. We'll see.
Key card first.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see that. I think that he, again, like especially with Claire's campaign, he's actually not around all that much, and he won't
Well,
follow
that's
you
encouraging.
into safe rooms, generally speaking. So, you know, I would say,
Yeah, when I was
going
doing
to-
it, I pretty much just bolted for a safe room once he showed up.
man,
That's the thing.
Waited
Is
around.
I didn't think the safe rooms were safe because I tried to save in the main hallway, and that area is no longer. You can't even use the typewriter at that point.
Right, that area. I thought you could if he's not right next to you.
Well, maybe if he's not in the room, but he's always in the fucking room.
But yeah, yeah, the like the photo developing room and all that stuff. Like he won't come in those rooms.
Right. That's where I'm saved now, so that makes sense. All right. Well, I'll
But
see what I
yeah,
can do.
as far as the liquors go, like again, if you just don't touch them,
Yeah.
they
The
can't
problem
see
is
the
the one.
light.
There's one in the hallway. So there's a hallway around the photo developing room that also connects you to the supply room.
Yeah, I
which is
just
a
killed
place-
that one. I've
Yeah,
just
well, I
killed
would say
that
I have to kill that one, but Mr. X is there, so it's just like it's just not an easy time. I should kill him, and then go back and save again maybe, and try it from there because I keep getting into bad situations where Mr. X and the liquor are both trying to fuck me up in that area.
That's not a good time.
No,
one. Yeah, no, dude.
not for anybody. So anyway, I can see why you like it. You liked Resident Evil 3 a lot too, right?
The new one,
Remake?
the remake.
The remake.
Yes, I did. I like the remake quite a bit.
Yeah. Me too.
The game's all right. Yeah.
I don't think
I
it's
didn't like
as
it
good
as
as
much as
this.
this.
It's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, there's less to it.
Yeah, and it's just like generally not as. There's kind of nothing in that game that's nearly as good as wandering around in the police station in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts
There's
with
not
a
really,
worse blueprint. It's the same
yeah.
problem that Metroid 2 has. You can remake Metroid 2 as many times as you want, but it's just not the best idea for a game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still think that there is probably a better version of the remake of 3 that's.
Possible. Well,
It's really sad that they got rid of like the clock tower in 3 is like I understand it. It makes sense from a game design standpoint why that's not in the game, but also that's one of the few really interesting areas in Resident Evil 3, and the fact that it's not in there is kind of a. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of a.
But I think the
bummer.
hope with 3 was that they would do for the Nemesis what they did for Mr. X, right? Turn him
Yeah.
into like a living,
Except
breathing.
he's not
entity.
nearly as persistent as Mr. X is in this game. That was another
Right.
thing that I thought was weird. That was like, that it seemed like that was what they were going for, but there's really only one like fairly short section where he is actually pursuing you in the same way.
I was going to say, isn't he basically just a series of escalating boss fights?
Yes, that's mostly what he is. But
Why do you
there's
have
like
to shoot
one.
these guys 8 times in the head? That's what I don't understand.
I mean, because they're zombies, man. And they don't even die unless their head actually, unless you see like the brain juice like spill out. They're not actually dead. They will come back. If I was to come back in this room, that zombie will come back because his
The head kind of
like,
splits open when they're dead.
It splits
right?
open like a melon, and it makes a really gross noise. That's when you know that they're like dead for good. Or if you blow them up or whatever. Or you can take their heads clean off with a shotgun if you're Leon. Incinerating them with Claire's.
Did Claire never get a shotgun in this game?
Claire never got a shotgun in the original
Okay.
either, no.
I did play the original Resident Evil 2 a bunch of times, and I didn't do every single secret thing, but I did one of those runs where you have to finish in less than however many hours and only save 4 times, or I unlocked the endless chain gun or something like that.
Yeah, right. That's the one you have to not save.
I feel like I did a run where I had to save a maximum of 4 times, and also finish within I don't know how many hours.
Yeah, it's a certain number, it's a certain amount of time, and you can't save. I think at all for the chain gun.
Well, then I don't know.
That would drive me nuts.
The version that I had might have been a little different, but
That's also true.
I'm an obsessive saver.
I actually didn't find it hard at the time. Like once I'd played through each of the campaigns maybe 2 times, and then it was my 3rd go around, I think, and I was just like, all right, I know what I'm doing. You got to play good for 40 minutes at a time, basically. And I wasn't on like some really hard difficulty level. I don't think it was just the challenge of limited saves and going fast.
I'm just saying, I want to do it no matter what.
Well, I've saved about 20
I'm here.
times.
I'm gonna
so far.
save. Click.
Yeah.
Well,
I've saved about 20 times so far.
Loop back around. Save. Click.
I feel like Resident Evil could be hard for you if that's the case, because you have limited save.
Yeah.
Which is, again, the way I'm playing right now, I also have that. The hardcore difficulty re-adds the ink ribbons, so...
Yeah, that's one of the things that bugged me about the earlier games.
Is Code Veronica the last one that used ink ribbons?
On the default difficulty, yes, I think that's correct.
More like stink ribbons, am I right, guys?
You are.
I always had way more of them than I ever needed. The only annoyance was carrying them around, but I guess usually there's a chest when you're saving.
Yeah, they're pretty stingy with them in this version. When you're playing on the higher difficulty, they don't give them away the same way they do on the default difficulty of the original games. You kind of have to figure out when's a good time to save, and do you really need to save right here, or would you be okay redoing part of this if things went pear-shaped, etc., etc. Which is why right before I died I didn't save in Chief Iron's office, because I was like, well, I don't know. But there's the same thing with this one. To unlock the chain gun and the infinite rocket launcher, you have to do an S+ run on hardcore, which is beat the game in less than 2.5 hours. What else is you can only save 3 times, and there's no auto saves at all, and you can't the only bonus weapon you can use is the knife, the infinite knife. You can't use the infinite pistol or any of that.
So are you trying to limit your saves now? Did you get through the Birkin fight before saving a first time, or?
No, I saved before the Birkin fight, and then I saved shortly after, because I knew that those 2 spots would be spots where I would want to.
But are those 2 of your 3
want to
saves? Or?
No, I'm not trying to get an S+ on this run.
You've already done all that.
Yeah, I've done all that.
You got nothing to prove.
I have nothing to prove at this point. Yeah, I did all that. That's how I. Well, you can actually. There's a now. You can. There's a $5 DLC where you can get both of these. It unlocks. I think it unlocks all the stuff: the machine gun, the pistol, the whatever, because infinite pistol, infinite machine gun, infinite rocket launcher, infinite minigun, and I think the that $5 unlocked DLC does all of that plus hardcore difficulty, which I don't know why you would want to play on hardcore difficulty if you hadn't finished the game on the original difficulty yet, because that's, I mean, you're really kind of jumping in the deep end if you do that, but maybe there's someone out there who's into that idea. Yeah, I did all that stuff already. I'm not trying to do that now. I would need to play through it a couple times, I think, to like warm up first before I could do it again. I don't think I could just do another S plus run.
You need to do a
hardcore.
D-rest.
Yeah, I would need to. You'd need to shake the rust off for sure.
Well, I got plenty of DLC. I can make Leon look like a sexy gangster.
You can. You make Claire look like a sexy gangster too.
Yeah, but the motorcycle suit's way cooler.
Yeah.
But if I do get over my big X hump, as it were, then I will maybe go back and play with Leon, and he will definitely look like a sexy gangster.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I would. I mean, again, I would say. I mean, even check a guide if you feel like you have to. But Mr. X can be stressful, and he kind of messes with you in a way because you're just like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, this is crazy. This guy is, and once you kind of realize his patterns and where he can and can't go and sort of that kind of stuff, like, he's less stressed. It kind of takes some of the stress out of it.
I would be more interested to know where he can't go, because aside from, I guess, some save rooms, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of places he won't follow you.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. I haven't played through this since last October. So I can't quite remember. There are a couple other places, not just save rooms, where he will not go. But it's mostly save rooms. But again, with Claire, there's a definitive point where it's like, he's done bothering you.
Yes, but I'm guessing that I won't get to that point until I've at least gotten to the bell tower.
Right. You're pretty close though, I think, based on what you're saying, as far as what you've done so far and stuff. I think you're pretty close to the point where he isn't around anymore.
But I will say, so
do you want to just know?
I want one hint, because it looks like you need 2 gears for the bell tower to fix it. Is that...
You need...
I don't know if that's correct. Because I found a big gear, it takes 2 inventory slots. But
Right.
it seemed like there were 2 places up there that needed fixing.
So...
Or is it like a...
Also, I'll say, Mike, that this part that you're on right now is by far the most difficult point of dealing with Mr. X.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is the one memorable point where I felt some frustration when I was...
I just want to know, basically, do I have what I need, or do I need to find like a second gear for that
think
second...
you just need because the big one, you use it the first time and it drops the second one.
Oh, okay,
if I
okay.
remember. And then...
Okay, so basically, I got to that room, but I had left the gear in the box because I didn't know that it belonged there, and I have not made it back in my other attempts. So, and I know that I can get there, and I know that I have the gear, so I'll just try to do that again. Be careful, basically.
Do you want another room so you can't go in? Doesn't go in.
Sure. Tell me a couple.
Interrogation observation room on the first.
You mean where the liquor breaks through the glass?
Yes,
I'm
he
just-
won't go in there. That's correct.
Oh.
He won't go in there.
Watchman's room / break room hall.
Okay.
Save room. Chief's office.
Yeah, I kind of figured he wouldn't go into the chief's office, but it's not very close to where I need to be right now.
Yeah. Star's office.
Oh, he doesn't go to the star's office at all.
Yeah.
No, the Star's office is...
I remember hiding from him in the Star's office.
Okay. Because I've been in there a few times, because both times I went and got the machine gun, and I was trying to be very efficient, and I kept hearing him stomping around, and I thought he was on the verge of coming in, and he never did. Okay, well, it's nice to know that.
And then the clock tower.
Okay. Oh, he doesn't come into the clock tower.
No, he
Okay.
doesn't. He won't actually go in the door. That
All right.
puzzle is a safe area because...
All right, well, armed with this knowledge, I think I'll give another shot someday soon, and I will at least make sure that I get to the clock tower with the gear, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, once you... Yeah. Yeah, because you get to the clock tower, and once you're done with that, I think that's when you leave the police station, which is right around the time that he goes away.
Right. Because I had 2 good nights playing this game where I was having a fine time, and then I had a third night that ended with 40 minutes of frustration and kind of colored my opinion where it is right now. But I know these things, sometimes these things will pass.
Yes.
Indeed.
So I guess I should say thank you then for this mostly good game that I was interested in trying.
You're welcome. You should. I hope you finish it because
It has a really, for a Resident Evil game, it has a really strong back half.
Yeah,
Is it
actually,
improved on the original RE2? Because I remember that one being a little on the weak side.
Yeah, I think it has the best second half of any Resident Evil game.
Because Resident Evil always had this problem where it was
Yes.
tense and stressful for the first half, and then in the second half, you're like, I got 50 rounds for my grenade launcher. Fuck you.
Yeah, but not only that, but a lot of times like the level design and stuff in the back halves aren't so great.
the
you know?
labs are often the fucking
Bunch
boat
of
in
nondescript
Resident Evil 7.
labs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, here's another biolab. Super.
The boat in the caves.
Yeah. I still love Resident Evil 7, but I
The boat
almost
has
gave you
the problem that
Mike,
it's too
actually.
long.
The boat
mainly.
is way too long. For a not very interesting place, the boat is way too goddamn long.
Yeah.
I think if you gave me Resident Evil 7, I would have probably just left it sitting on the menu for 4 hours and then done this show. I've
Beginning
seen
of that game
a
is
video.
so good.
I've seen some video of the first area in that game, the whole Chainsaw Massacre house, and I don't know if I have that in me. It seems so fucking stressful with like
It is incredibly
with
stressful.
the father of that family always
Yeah.
trying to chase you down, and
He's around less than Mr. X in this game, though. He doesn't... That was one of the things that I remember being like slightly bummed about, is that Jack doesn't pursue you as doggedly as your kind. Like if you watch early video coverage and trailers and stuff, like you kind of get the vibe that Jack is around a lot more than he actually is in that game. He's only around for the first brief section. He follows you around the house, and then
are these the Dark Souls 2 candles of Resident Evil 2?
I don't know what that means.
The people got really mad because the candles looked less, or the torches in Dark Souls 2 got a lighting downgrade between the preview event and the final build of the game.
Oh,
Kind of like, let's say, the puddles in Spider-Man.
right, yeah. I remember there being a Puddles controversy.
So I'm starting to think maybe you should have saved your game at some point.
Yeah, probably. I'm actually kind of thinking about just taking out the minigun and forging
Laying
on
waste.
ahead. Yeah. I probably actually shouldn't take that yet because that means the other corpses wake up, which I don't want.
All right. Well, I would propose that we then close the 2020 edition of Stickmas and say huzzah, huzzah,
Huzzah.
for success.
Oh,
Yeah.
We all played and got games, and we even talked about them before the end of the year.
yeah, it's just shocking. We
Shocking,
don't
yeah.
manage that. Although we talked about 3 last week, which helped.
Hey, man, whatever you got to do to get through the day.
Yeah. So on a non-Sticksmas topic, before we end up here, because I mentioned ray tracing earlier. Have you guys seen that crazy demo of ray tracing on the Super NES?
Ray tracing? No. What game do they use?
It's
Oh,
a-
yes,
it's a
sorry, I
custom
have
demo.
seen.
It's a
Oh,
custom
yes, okay.
demo.
Yeah, the abstract shape demo. Yes, I did see that actually, and that is pretty amazing.
Did you see that, Eric? That seems like something that would at least interest you.
I mean, it looks like a computer 3D modeling demo from the late 90s.
Yeah.
Or mid to late 90s. I had a friend who used to love using ray tracing software to make pictures of spheres floating in space.
Yeah. And that's, basically what that is, right? It's like
It's mind blowing that it runs in real time on a Super Nintendo, but I mean, it does have like a big hefty add-on chip, doesn't it?
yeah, it's using a Mister basically as a
Oh,
code
wow.
processor through the cartridge slot.
It's got a whole DE10.
It's got a whole DE10, yeah.
I'm a little less impressed now. I mean, the Mister can already do some 3D stuff.
Yeah, so. But it's still, I mean, that's, it's still using the same amount of, like, RAM and video RAM and whatever that, but if you see, like, the picture of the rig that's being used to run it, it's like there's this just like a squid of wires coming off of a DE10 Nano. At least I think it was a DE10. Maybe it was just the Cyclone 5 processor and some other configuration, but I don't remember now. Anyways, it was
Details.
yeah, it's pretty bananas. So, but yeah, I mean, I can end the stream whenever if we're all good if we're all done with Sticksmas 2020.
Yep, I got speedruns to do.
Are you just gonna go stream on the other platform? Is that, or
I can keep talking to you while I do it,
right?
but I want to go get set up for that.
Sure. All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out, and we'll be back next week with I don't know what. I got my satiator in the mail today, so I was playing with that a little bit earlier this evening. So maybe I'll check that. Or I also got my Astro City Mini cabinet this last week as well. So I don't know.
They look so cute.
But there, yeah. I haven't even. I've been so busy with the holidays and everything that I haven't even played it yet. It got here the Friday before Christmas, and I haven't even booted it up, which I should do. So, but whatever. We'll be back next Wednesday with something, whatever that thing is. Good night,
All right.
everybody.
Merry Sticksmas. Ho ho ho.
Green giant.